Sound effect. Can opener whirring. The can opener clicked 3 times before the metal lid peeled back. Chicken flavored. That detail mattered to her. Even at rock bottom, that detail mattered. Rebecca Morrison sat on $15 million of Italian marble, in a kitchen with appliances that cost more than most cars, in a mansion featured in architecture magazines, and she was eating dog food, 6 months pregnant, 109 pounds, while her husband spent $12,000 on a single dinner with his mistress. This isn't a story about poverty. This is a story about power, about a tech millionaire who documented his pregnant wife's starvation day by day, who called watching her suffer beautiful, who had a plan, a timeline, an endgame. But here's what he didn't plan for. He didn't plan for her to survive. This is the true story of how a woman crawled from the bottom of a dog food can to the front of a courtroom victory, how she transformed pain into power, how she refused to disappear. Her name is Rebecca, and this is how she won. The mechanical whir of a can opener cut through the silent mansion. Metal scraped against metal. A woman's breath caught in her throat. The dog food was chicken-flavored. That was important. Becca told herself it was important as she opened the 3rd can that week. Her baby kicked. Hard, like it knew. She sat on the cold marble floor of the kitchen. $15 million of Italian marble beneath her. The kind of kitchen featured in architecture magazines. Sub-zero refrigerator that cost more than a car. Empty. Viking range that could cook for 20 people. Cold. Becca Morrison was 29 years old and 6 months pregnant. She weighed 109 pounds. The dog food slid onto a paper plate. Brown chunks and gray jelly. She'd heated it yesterday. Made herself sick. Now she ate it cold. Her hands shook as she lifted the fork. The baby kicked again, harder this time. "I'm sorry," she whispered to her stomach. "I'm so sorry." Her phone sat on the counter. She glanced at it. Lock, unlock, lock. The banking app glowed in the darkness. Her account showed $207. She switched screens. Gregory's personal account showed $2,300,000. Both their names on the account. She couldn't touch a penny. She'd tried. The bank had said she needed his authorization, his signature, his permission. The fork clinked against her teeth. She forced herself to chew, to swallow. Her stomach cramped immediately, not used to food anymore. Even this. Headlights swept across the kitchen window. Becca scrambled to her feet. The paper plate hit the sink. She washed it 3 times. Paranoid. The smell of the Thai food clung to her fingers. She scrubbed harder. Lavender soap burned her raw cuticles. The garage door rumbled open. She shoved the empty can deep into the recycling bin, covered it with newspapers. Her heart hammered against her ribs. The baby kicked in protest at her panic. The door from the garage opened. Gregory walked in. Designer suit, rumpled, Tom Ford, $3,500. Becca knew because she'd picked it up from the dry cleaner 6 months ago, back when she was allowed to leave the house alone. His tie was loose. Lipstick stained his collar, not even hiding it anymore. Red, bright red, the kind that cost $60 a tube at Saks. He carried a bag. The smell hit her first. Truffle fries, Wagyu beef. Her stomach twisted. Not for her, never for her. "You're up," Gregory said. Not a question, an accusation, like her existence at 2 in the morning was an inconvenience. Becca nodded. Her hand moved protectively to her belly. The maternity dress hung off her frame, size small, too big now. "The air conditioning is too high," he said. He set his takeout bag on the counter. Didn't look at her. "You trying to bankrupt me?" The thermostat read 78 degrees. The mansion felt like a sauna. Her maternity clothes stuck to her back with sweat. "No," she said. Her voice came out small. When had her voice gotten so small? "It's almost 80 degrees in here, Becca. That's irresponsible." She wanted to scream, to point out the Bentley in the garage, the second Bentley, the Mercedes, the Tesla, the 4 cars that cost more than most people's houses. Instead, she said, "I'll turn it down." He pulled containers from the bag. The smell of fresh bread, butter, garlic, steak cooked perfectly medium rare. Her mouth watered, her stomach cramped. I ate already, he said. Didn't offer her anything. Didn't even acknowledge the visible bones of her collarbone, the way her wedding ring spun loose on her finger. He took out his phone, smiled at the screen, typed something, smiled wider. Becca saw the notification before he could tilt the phone away. A text message preview. Last night was amazing, baby. That $12,000 omakase. $12,000 for one dinner for someone else. Becca had $207. She'd been rationing it for 3 weeks. $50 for prenatal vitamins she bought at Costco. $30 for guao. $20 for the phone bill Gregory kept threatening to cut off. The rest for emergencies, like maybe food. Real food. The baby kicked. A flutter this time. Weak. I have an early meeting, Gregory said. He grabbed his keys, tossed them on the counter. Cartier key ring, gold, a gift from someone, not her. Don't wait up. He'd just gotten home. It was 2:30 in the morning. He was leaving again. Gregory, she said, her voice cracked. The doctor's appointment is tomorrow, today, at 10. He paused, hand on the door frame, didn't turn around. Right, the baby thing. The baby thing. Their child, his child, the baby thing. She said it's important, the ultrasound. They need to check. I have meetings all day. You'll be fine. You've done this before. She hadn't. This was their first baby. Their only baby. He knew that. I just thought, Becca. He turned then. His face showed irritation. Nothing else, no concern, no love, no recognition that she was a person. I work. Someone has to pay for all this. He gestured vaguely at the mansion, the marble, the emptiness. She wanted to point out that she'd worked, that she'd had a career, gallery manager at one of the best art galleries in the city, $38,000 a year. Not rich, but hers. He'd asked her to quit, said he made enough for both of them, said she should focus on being his wife, preparing for the baby. He'd made it sound like love, like care. It had been control. Okay, she said, I'll go alone. That's my girl. He left. The door closed. The garage rumbled. His Bentley pulled away. The dawn light crept through the floor-to-ceiling windows, pink and orange, and beautiful. The kind of sunrise photographers waited for. It illuminated the empty kitchen, the cold marble, the recycling bin hiding her shame. Becca opened the cupboard under the sink. 4 cans of dog food left, chicken-flavored. The discount brand from the grocery store 3 miles away. The only store she could walk to. She opened the refrigerator, a jar of pickles, mustard, ketchup packets from takeout restaurants. All his, not for her. Her stomach cramped again. The baby kicked. Weaker now. I'm trying, she whispered. I promise I'm trying. But trying wasn't enough when you were drowning. And Becca Morrison was drowning in a $15 million mansion with marble floors and empty rooms and a husband who'd rather spend $12,000 on dinner with someone else than buy his pregnant wife groceries. She opened another can of dog food, the mechanical whir of the can opener. Metal on metal. Her hands shook less this time. Maybe that was worse. The medical building smelled like antiseptic and anxiety. Becca sat in the waiting room of Dr. Sarah Mitchell's office, her hands folded over her belly. The baby had been quiet all morning. Too quiet. She'd walked the 3 miles to the appointment. Couldn't afford an Uber. Gregory had the cars, all of them. She had a license but no keys, no permission. The walk had exhausted her. Her legs shook. Black spots danced at the edges of her vision. But she'd made it. Rebecca Morrison? A nurse called from the doorway. Becca stood. The room tilted. She grabbed the chair. The nurse rushed forward. Are you okay? Just stood up too fast, Becca said. The lie came easily now. The nurse didn't look convinced. She was young, maybe 25. Her name tag read Jennifer. She took Becca's arm gently, like she might break. They walked down the hallway, past examining rooms, past the sound of other women's laughter, other women's healthy pregnancies. Step on the scale, please, Jennifer said. Becca kicked off her sandals. She knew what was coming, had been dreading this moment for weeks. The digital numbers climbed, stopped. 109 pounds. Jennifer's face went blank. Professional. She wrote down the number. Didn't say anything. I know, Becca said, defensive. I've had morning sickness. For 6 months? It's been severe. Jennifer nodded, still professional, still blank. Let's get you into the exam room. The exam room was cold. Becca shivered in the paper gown. The tissue paper crinkled beneath her. She stared at the anatomical posters, the cheerful prints of babies, the lies about what pregnancy was supposed to be. Dr. Sarah Mitchell knocked once and entered. She was 45. Kind eyes, competent hands. She'd delivered thousands of babies. Becca had chosen her carefully, had felt safe with her. Rebecca, Dr. Mitchell said. She sat down on the rolling stool, didn't smile. Let's talk about your weight. I know I've lost 17 pounds. Dr. Mitchell pulled up the chart on her tablet. You've lost 17 pounds since your last appointment. That was 8 weeks ago, during pregnancy, during the second trimester when you should be gaining. Becca's hands twisted in her lap. The morning sickness is typically worst in the first trimester. You're 6 months along, Rebecca. This isn't normal morning sickness. The baby kicked, once. Weak. Dr. Mitchell rolled closer. She put her hand on Becca's knee. I'm not judging you. I'm worried. Your baby is measuring small, dangerously small. Your iron levels are critically low. Your blood pressure is concerning. When did you last have a proper meal? Becca opened her mouth. The lie died on her tongue. She couldn't remember. A proper meal? Not dog food, not saltines stolen from a coffee shop. An actual meal with protein and vegetables and the things babies need to grow. I don't know, she whispered. Dr. Mitchell waited. The silence stretched. Becca could hear the clock ticking, could hear Jennifer moving in the hallway, could hear her own heart hammering. Rebecca, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me. Becca nodded, couldn't speak. Are you safe at home? The question hung in the air. 4 words. They cracked something open in Becca's chest, something she'd been holding closed for months, maybe years. She started to say yes, started to lie, started to protect him, protect the image, protect the illusion of the perfect marriage. But her body betrayed her. Tears spilled down her cheeks, hot and fast and unstoppable. Her shoulders shook, sobs tore from her throat. She couldn't stop, couldn't breathe, couldn't pretend anymore. Mitchell stood, locked the exam room door, came back and put her arms around Becca, let her cry into her white coat. It's okay, Dr. Mitchell said. You're safe here. Tell me everything. So Becca did. She told her about Gregory, about the whirlwind courtship 3 years ago, about how he'd seemed perfect. Rich, successful, attentive. How he'd bought her entire art collection at the gallery opening. $50,000 worth of paintings. How he'd said she was too talented to work for someone else. She told her about the wedding 6 months later. Small. His choice. How her family couldn't make it. How she'd later realized he'd never sent them invitations. She told her about getting pregnant. About Gregory's face when she told him. How it hadn't been joy. How it had been something else. Calculation. Like she'd just complicated his plans. She told her about the isolation. How he'd slowly cut her off from friends, from family, from her job. How he'd made it seem reasonable, necessary, like he was protecting her, protecting the baby. She told her about the money, how her bank account had been drained. How he'd promised to transfer funds, how he'd never did. How she'd asked and asked and asked until the asking felt like begging. She told her about the food, or the lack of it, how the refrigerator stayed empty, how he'd forget to leave grocery money, how he'd say she was being irresponsible with finances when she asked. She didn't tell her about the tea and food. That shame was too deep. Dr. Mitchell listened, didn't interrupt, didn't judge. When Becca finally ran out of words, Dr. Mitchell handed her a box of tissues. Rebecca, what you're describing has a name. It's called reproductive coercion. It's a form of domestic violence, and it's a crime. The words hit Becca like cold water. Domestic violence. Crime. Those words belong to other women. Women on TV movies. Women in shelters. Not women in $15 million mansions married to tech millionaires. I'm not crazy, Becca asked, her voice small again, hating how small it sounded. No. Dr. Mitchell's voice was firm. You're not crazy. This is really happening. Your husband is financially abusing you. He's endangering you and your baby, and we're going to stop it. Becca looked up. How? Dr. Mitchell stood, made a phone call. Her voice was low. Becca couldn't hear the words. When she came back, she had a business card. This is Patricia Hendricks. She's a family law attorney, one of the best. She's expecting your call. Becca took the card. Patricia Hendricks, Esquire. Family law. The address was downtown, the kind of building with doormen and marble lobbies. I can't afford. She'll work it out. She's helped other women in your situation. Call her. Today. Dr. Mitchell handed her another paper. Prescriptions. Prenatal vitamins. Iron supplements. Protein powder. A meal plan. Foods that would help the baby grow. And Rebecca, I'm documenting everything. Your weight loss, the malnutrition, the baby's measurements. If this goes to court, I'll testify. Court. The word felt impossible, foreign. Becca couldn't imagine standing in a courtroom. Couldn't imagine facing Gregory. Couldn't imagine destroying their life together. Except their life was already destroyed. She just hadn't admitted it yet. Okay, Becca said. She folded the prescriptions, tucked the business card into her purse. Thank you. One more thing. Dr. Mitchell pulled up her phone, showed Becca a photo. A house. Small. Cozy. This is a friend's place. It's empty right now. If you need somewhere safe to go tonight, tomorrow, anytime, you call me, understand? Becca nodded. Couldn't speak around the lump in her throat. She left the office with the prescriptions she couldn't fill, with the business card for a lawyer she couldn't afford, with the knowledge that what was happening to her had a name. Reproductive coercion, financial abuse, domestic violence. Her husband wasn't just neglectful. He was criminal. The walk home took longer. The black spots came back. She had to sit on a bench twice. An old woman asked if she was okay. Becca said yes. Another lie. She made it back to the mansion by noon. The house was empty. Of course it was empty. Gregory wouldn't be home until late, if at all. Becca sat on the marble floor of the kitchen, her back against the sub-zero refrigerator, the business card in her hand. Patricia Hendricks, Esquire. Her phone rang. She jumped. Gregory's name on the screen. Hello? Did you make it to the appointment? His voice was distracted. She could hear people talking in the background. A restaurant. Lunch meeting? Yes. Everything fine with the baby thing? The baby thing. Not our baby. Not your daughter. The baby thing. They want me to gain weight. The baby's measuring small. So eat more. Simple, like she hadn't thought of that. Like there was food in the house. Like she had money for groceries. Gregory, I have to go. Client's here. We'll talk tonight. He hung up. Becca stared at her phone, at the banking app. $207. At the business card. Patricia Hendricks. She made the call before she could change her mind. The phone rang once, twice, 3 times. Patricia Hendricks. Hi, Dr. Sarah Mitchell gave me your number. My name is Rebecca Morrison, and I think I need help. Patricia Hendricks had a voice like steel wrapped in silk. Professional, kind, deadly when it needed to be. Rebecca, I'm going to ask you some questions. They might be difficult, but I need you to be completely honest with me. Can you do that? Becca sat on the cold marble floor, phone pressed to her ear. Yes. Does your husband physically harm you? No. Has he threatened physical harm? No. Does he control your finances? Becca's throat tightened. Yes. Do you have access to money for basic necessities? Food, medical care, transportation? I have $207 in an old account he doesn't know about. Silence. Then, and how long has that $207 needed to last? 3 weeks, maybe 4. More silence. Becca could hear Patricia typing, fast, efficient. Rebecca, I'm going to be direct with you. What you've described is financial abuse, combined with reproductive coercion. These are serious crimes. I can help you, but I need to know if you're ready to leave. Leave. The word felt massive, impossible. I don't have anywhere to go. Dr. Mitchell mentioned a safe house. I can't just leave. The house, it's his house. Legally, I signed a prenuptial agreement. I don't remember exactly what it said. He had me sign so many papers when we got married. More typing. I'll need to see that prenup. Rebecca, I want you to start documenting everything. Every text message, every email, every conversation about money. Photograph any bank statements you can access. Any receipts, any evidence of his spending versus your access to funds. Can you do that safely? Could she? Gregory kept his laptop in his office, password protected, but she'd seen him type it once. Vivian 0 or 826. Someone's birthday, not hers. I think so. Good. I'm going to email you a list. Information I need. Documents, evidence. Take your time. But Rebecca, if you ever feel unsafe, if things escalate, you call 911 first, then you call me. Understand? Yes. One more thing. Do you have food right now, today? Do you have food? Becca looked at the cupboard under the sink. 3 cans of dog food. She couldn't tell Patricia about the dog food. Couldn't speak that shame out loud. Not really. Okay, I'm sending you money right now to your account. $500. You go buy groceries, real food, for you and the baby. That's not a loan, that's a gift. From one woman to another. Got it? Tears burned Becca's eyes. I can't. You can. You will. Go to the grocery store. Buy protein, vegetables, fruit, bread, milk. Whatever you need. Take care of yourself. That baby needs you healthy. Thank you. The words felt insufficient, tiny. Patricia was a stranger. Yet she'd done more for Becca in 10 minutes than Gregory had in months. We'll talk tomorrow. I'll have you come to my office. We'll go through everything. But today you eat, okay? Okay. The call ended. Becca checked her banking app. $512. Patricia had sent $500, plus her $207. Becca had $719. It felt like winning the lottery. She found her shoes, her purse. The car keys were gone. All of them. Gregory kept them in his office. Locked drawer. She'd checked. The grocery store was 3 miles. She'd walked it this morning. She could walk it again. Except her legs still shook. The black spots still danced. The baby still kicked weakly. She called an Uber. $11. Worth it. The driver was a woman. 50s. Kind eyes. She didn't ask questions. Just drove. Whole Foods appeared like an oasis. Bright, clean, full of food. Real food. Becca hadn't been inside in 4 months. Since Gregory had said they needed to cut back on expenses. Since he'd said Whole Foods was too expensive. Since he'd stopped leaving grocery money entirely. She grabbed a cart. The metal felt solid under her hands, real. She walked through the automatic doors. The smell hit her first. Fresh bread baking, rotisserie chicken, olive oil, garlic, coffee brewing. Her knees buckled. She caught herself on the cart. A store employee rushed over. Miss, are you okay? I'm fine, just pregnant. The lie again. So easy now. He didn't look convinced but nodded. Went back to stacking oranges. Becca started with the protein. Chicken breasts, ground beef, salmon, eggs, a dozen, 2 dozen, 3. She couldn't remember the last time she'd had eggs. Vegetables next. Spinach, kale, carrots, sweet potatoes, broccoli, green beans. All the things Dr. Mitchell's meal plan recommended. All the things babies needed to grow. Fruit, apples, bananas, strawberries, blueberries, oranges for vitamin C, bread, real bread, from the bakery, thick sourdough loaves that cost $6 each. She bought 3. Milk, whole milk, full fat, for the baby, peanut butter, almond butter, nuts, protein sources. Her cart filled. She kept going. Couldn't stop. Like a person lost in the desert who'd found water. The baby kicked, strong this time, like it knew food was coming. I know, Becca whispered to her belly. I know, baby. Soon. She turned into the checkout line, started unloading eggs, chicken, bread, vegetables, fruit, milk, butter, cheese, yogurt, everything she'd been denied for months. The cashier scanned item after item. The total climbed. $100, 200, 300, $417.62, the cashier said. Becca swiped her card. The machine beeped, declined. She tried again. Maybe she'd inserted it wrong. Maybe the chip reader was broken. Declined. Can you try again? The cashier asked. Patient, professional. Becca's hand shook. She swiped the card a third time. Declined. There should be enough. I checked. The people behind her sighed, shuffled, impatient. The cashier's professional smile faltered. Do you have another form of payment? Becca checked her wallet. $23 in cash. She had $719 this morning. She'd spent $11 on the Uber. $708 should be left. She checked her banking app. Her hands trembled so badly she almost dropped the phone. Balance $0.00. Transaction history $708. Transferred to Gregory Morrison 5 minutes ago. He'd taken it while she was shopping, while she was trying to feed their baby. He'd taken every penny. Miss? The cashier's voice seemed far away. Miss, do you have another card? The people behind her weren't quiet anymore. Come on. Some of us have places to be. She's holding up the line. Becca looked at the cart, at the food, at everything she needed, everything the baby needed. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. She left the cart, walked away, half ran. The automatic doors opened. The parking lot swam in her vision. The Uber was gone. She had no money to call another. She walked 3 miles in the California heat, 6 months pregnant, 109 pounds. No food in her system except dog food from 2 days ago. The black spots came back, bigger this time. She made it half a mile before she had to sit. A bus stop bench, graffiti covered, gum underneath. She didn't care. A woman walked past, stopped, came back. Honey, you okay? Becca looked up. The woman was older, 60s, worn hands, kind face, a canvas grocery bag over her shoulder. I'm fine. You don't look fine. You look like you're about to pass out. I just need to rest. The woman sat down next to her, didn't ask permission, pulled out a water bottle from her bag, unopened, handed it to Becca. Drink. Becca took it, unscrewed the cap. The water was cold, clean. She drank half the bottle in one go. When did you last eat? The woman asked. Yesterday. Another lie, 2 days ago, the dog food. But she couldn't say that. The woman pulled out a granola bar, then an apple, a bag of almonds, put them in Becca's lap. Eat. I can't take your eat. I ain't at asking twice. Becca ate. The granola bar tasted like heaven. Oats and honey and chocolate chips, real food, human food. She started crying while chewing. The woman patted her hand, didn't say anything, just sat with her while she ate, while she cried, while the baby kicked stronger, fed for the first time in days. You got someone? The woman asked finally. My husband. The woman looked at her, really looked, saw the bones, the tears, the wedding ring spinning loose on her finger. That ain't what I asked. You got someone? Becca thought about Marley, her college roommate, best friend. They talked every day for years, until Gregory, until he'd said Marley was jealous of their happiness, until he'd convinced Becca that Marley was toxic, until Becca had blocked her number to keep the peace. I used to. Maybe it's time to find them again. The woman stood, pulled out her wallet, took out a $20 bill, pressed it into Becca's hand. You take this, you get yourself a ride home. You call whoever you used to have. And honey, that man who's got you looking like death warmed over while you're carrying his baby, he ain't worth protecting. The woman walked away before Becca could protest, could refuse the money, could say anything. Becca sat on the bus bench, held the $20 bill, ate the almonds, drank the water. She called an Uber with the $20. The driver asked if she was okay. She said yes. She made it back to the mansion by 4 o'clock. The house was still empty. The refrigerator was still empty. The cupboard still held 3 cans of dog food. But something had shifted, something the woman at the bus stop had said. He ain't worth protecting. Becca had been protecting Gregory, protecting his image, protecting the illusion of their perfect life, while he'd been destroying her. She opened Gregory's office door. His laptop sat on the mahogany desk, $11,000 desk, handcrafted, Italian. She knew because he'd told her, bragged about it. She sat in his leather chair, turned on the laptop, password, Vivian's 826. The screen unlocked. Becca started photographing everything. Gregory's laptop opened like a window into a life Becca didn't know existed. She started with his email. The inbox was full, mostly work, some personal, nothing from her. He never emailed her. Why would he? They lived in the same house. She scrolled down, looking for what, she wasn't sure. Evidence, proof, something to justify the feeling in her gut that this wasn't just neglect. This was intentional. She found the credit card statements first, PDF attachments, months of them. She opened the most recent, American Express Centurion, the black card, no spending limit. The charges scrolled down, page after page. Her eyes caught on certain lines. Le Bernardin, New York, $8,500. Nobu, Malibu, $12,000. Daniel, New York, $9,800. 11 Madison Park, $15,000. All within the last 2 months. All charged to the card with both their names. All for dinners she'd never eaten. She kept scrolling. Cartier, $89,000. Tiffany, $47,000. Chanel, $23,000. In 3 months, Gregory had spent over $400,000, while she'd been eating dog food. Becca's hands shook. She photographed every statement, every charge, every proof of the grotesque disparity between his life and hers. Then she saw the social media tabs. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all logged in, all open. She clicked Instagram. His profile was private, boring, professional. Photos of tech conferences, business achievements, nothing personal. But his search history told a different story. Recent searches, Vivian Cross, Viv Cross, Vivian Lux. Becca clicked the first name, Vivian Cross. The profile loaded. A woman, 26 years old according to her bio. Stunning. Red lips, perfect body, perfect life. 500,000 followers. The photos were a catalog of luxury, private jets, designer clothes, exotic locations, jewelry, cars, restaurants, and Gregory. In so many photos with Gregory. Becca scrolled, her breath caught on every image. Vivian in a red dress. Caption, celebrating my baby's new Bugatti. Blessed, our lucky girl. Vivian with champagne. Caption, best birthday ever. Baby spent $47,000 on dinner and surprised me with Cartier. Vivian on a yacht. Caption, when your man takes you to St. Bart's for the weekend, living my best life. Each photo was dated. Becca matched them to her calendar, to her own life. The Bugatti photo, 3 weeks ago, the day Becca had asked Gregory for grocery money and he'd said they needed to cut back. The birthday dinner, Becca's birthday was 3 days before Vivian's. Gregory had forgotten, given her nothing, not even a card. The St. Bart's trip, the weekend Becca had been hospitalized with dehydration. Gregory had said he couldn't visit, work emergency. He'd been in St. Bart's. Becca scrolled back. 6 months of posts. The timeline matched perfectly. When Gregory had started working late, when the grocery money had stopped, when he'd moved to the guest room. Every moment of Becca's starvation was documented in Vivian's Instagram feed as a luxury purchase. A fancy dinner, a weekend trip. She found a photo from 2 months ago. Vivian and Gregory at Nobu. The caption, that $12,000 omakase though, a spoiled girl, my man treats me. Becca looked at the date. She'd been 5 months pregnant. She'd weighed 120 pounds. She'd asked Gregory to drive her to the doctor. He'd said he was too busy. He'd been busy eating $12,000 worth of sushi with his mistress. Becca photographed everything. Every post, every caption, every geotag, Every proof that while she'd been surviving, Vivian had been thriving. She clicked on Vivian's tag photos. Found more. Gregory's Bentley. Caption, "My baby lets me drive his toys." A photo of Gregory's office. Caption, "Love visiting babe at work, hatch power couple." A photo of jewelry. Caption, "When he surprises you at the office with Tiffany, hashtag wifey material." Wifey material. Becca was the actual wife. Starving, forgotten, replaced. She moved to Gregory's phone records. The bill was online. She clicked through. Outgoing calls in the last month. 417 to Vivian's number. Some lasting 3 hours. 4 hours, 5 hours. Outgoing calls to Becca's number. 0. Texts to Vivian. 3,200 in the last 90 days. Text to Becca. 47. All logistical. "I'll be late. Don't wait up. I'm busy." She clicked through his text messages on the laptop. He had them synced, a feature he probably forgot about. The messages to Vivian were different, sweet, attentive, loving. "Can't wait to see you tonight, beautiful. Thinking about you. You looked incredible last night. I'm the luckiest man alive. Bought you something special. You're going to love it. My meeting ran late. Be there in 20. Miss your face." When the messages to Becca were cold, transactional, cruel. "The AC is too high again. You need to stop being so irresponsible with money. I don't have time for this right now. Why are you always complaining? You're being dramatic." Becca felt something break inside her chest, not her heart. That had broken months ago. Something deeper. The last piece of her that had believed this was salvageable. That maybe if she tried harder, if she was better, if she just understood what he needed. This wasn't about her. This had never been about her. He'd chosen someone else, and he was systematically destroying Becca to make room for his new life. She found his email drafts. Personal email, the ones he never sent, just typed out, like a diary. Her hands hovered over the mouse. Some instinct told her this was it. This was the proof Patricia needed. She clicked. The drafts loaded, dozens of them, all addressed to himself, all dated, all documenting. She read the first one. Day 47, she's noticeably weaker. Doctor appointment coming up. Need to intercept any intervention. V wants the house cleared by month 6. Timeline's tight. Day 47, 47 days of intentional starvation. Documented, tracked, planned. She read the next one. Day 61, transferred funds out of joint account today. She tried to buy groceries online, had the card declined. Beautiful watching the realization hit. V picked out nursery furniture for her new condo. Ironic. Beautiful. He'd called her suffering beautiful. She kept reading, each draft more damning, each entry more calculated. Day 75. She asked for money again. Told her we need to cut back. Then took V to Daniel. 9,000 for dinner. Worth every penny to see V happy. Becca barely has energy to argue anymore. Progress. Day 83. Reduced her account to $200. She tried to use emergency credit card. Had it declined. Perfect. Viv wants to go to Paris next month. Already booked the trip. First class. V asked about the baby. Told her it's handled. Lawyer says I need Becca to either lose the baby or abandon it. Psychological break incoming. Dr. Mitchell called today. Didn't answer. Becca's probably been lying about nutrition again. Becca's vision blurred. She was reading her own torture. Documented like a science experiment. Her husband had been tracking her decline, celebrating it, using it as foreplay in his new relationship. She forced herself to keep reading. The final draft was dated yesterday. Day 119. V's getting impatient. Wants me to file for divorce now. But lawyer says I need Becca to either lose the baby or abandon it. If she has a psychological break, can't care for herself, court won't give her custody. Then V and I are free. The baby will go to adoption or Becca's family. Either way, I'm a clean slate. V and I can start fresh. No baggage, no complications. She's already picked out wedding venues. Wants something big, splashy, 400 people. Fine by me. Anything she wants. Just need Becca to break completely. Shouldn't be long now. Dr. Mitchell called twice this week. Didn't answer either time. If Becca can't even take care of basic nutrition, she can't take care of a baby. Court will agree. V found a therapist who'll testify about postpartum psychosis. Perfect cover. Few more weeks, maybe a month. Then freedom. Becca read the draft 3 times. Each word a knife. Each sentence proof that her husband wasn't just neglectful. He was trying to destroy her. Systematically, intentionally, with help from his mistress and his lawyer. He was trying to make her lose the baby, or break her so completely that she'd lose custody. So he could have his clean slate, his fresh start, his life with Vivian. And Becca was supposed to just disappear. She photographed every draft, every word, every proof of premeditated abuse. Her hands were steady now, not shaking. The fog in her brain had cleared, replaced by something sharp, something certain. He documented his plan to destroy her. She just documented his documentation. Patricia Hendricks would know what to do with this. A judge would know what to do with this. The world would know what to do with this. Becca closed the laptop, exactly as she'd found it. Password protected again. No trace of her access. She went to the kitchen, opened the cupboard, stared at the 3 remaining cans of dog food. She didn't open them. Couldn't. Not now. Not with the weight of what she'd discovered sitting in her chest. Instead, she sat on the floor, back against the sub-zero refrigerator, one hand on her belly. The baby kicked. Strong now, like it knew. "I won't let him," she whispered. "I promise you. I won't let him do this to us." Her phone buzzed. A text from Gregory. "Working late again. Don't wait up." She typed back. "Okay." Then she opened her photos, looked at the evidence. Hundreds of photos, bank statements, Instagram posts, text messages, email drafts, a complete picture of a man trying to erase his pregnant wife. She texted Patricia, "I have evidence. A lot of it. When can I see you?" The response came immediately. "Tomorrow, 9 a.m., my office. Bring everything. We're going to destroy him." Becca allowed herself a small smile, the first real smile in months. She wasn't the same woman who'd been eating dog food 2 days ago. That woman had been breaking. This woman was sharp, focused, done breaking. This woman was ready to fight. Becca woke to wetness, cold and sticky. She reached down. Her fingers came back dark. Blood. She sat up. Pain ripped through her abdomen. Sharp, unforgiving. The baby kicked. Once. Weak. Then stopped. No. No, 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 no. "Gregory," she screamed, her voice raw, desperate. "Gregory, help." His bedroom was down the hall. The door stayed closed. "Gregory!" "Ugh." She screamed again, louder. "Something's wrong! The baby!" Silence. The house was silent. Just her breathing, her heartbeat, the sound of her own terror. She tried to stand. Her legs collapsed. The pain came again. Worse, cramping, twisting, like her body was trying to turn itself inside out. Her phone, where was her phone? She'd left it charging. Guest room nightstand. She crawled. Marble floors cold against her palms, slippery with blood. Each movement sent fresh waves of pain. She bit her lip to keep from screaming. Tasted copper. Blood. The guest room felt miles away. She crawled, pulled herself forward. The baby. Had to save the baby. Her phone glowed on the nightstand. She pulled herself up, grabbed it, dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? I'm pregnant. 6 months. I'm bleeding. There's so much blood. Please, please help me. Her voice broke. My baby. Okay, ma'am. Stay calm. I'm sending an ambulance to your location. What's your address? Becca rattled off the address, the mansion, the prison. Is anyone with you? My husband, but I called for him. He didn't come. Can you reach him now? I don't know. Maybe. His room is... Another contraction. She doubled over. The phone nearly slipped from her hand. Ma'am, stay with me. The ambulance is 3 minutes out. Can you get to the front door? I'm upstairs. I can try. Don't try to move if you're bleeding heavily. Stay where you are. Help is coming. But Becca couldn't stay. Couldn't just sit in the blood and wait. She needed Gregory, needed someone, needed not to be alone while her baby died inside her. She crawled to the hallway, pulled herself to Gregory's door, pounded on it. "Gregory, I called an ambulance. Wake up!" The door opened. Not Gregory. He'd been awake. On his phone. In bed, but awake. She could see the screen glow, could see him texting. His face showed irritation. Not concern. Irritation. "What the hell, Becca? It's 3 in the morning." She was on her hands and knees, blood soaking through her nightgown, tears streaming down her face. "The baby. I'm losing the baby. I called an ambulance." He looked down at her. She'd never forget that look. Cold, calculating. For just a second, she saw something in his eyes. Not fear for their baby, not concern for her. Relief. He wanted this. "You're being dramatic," he said. "It's probably just spotting. That's normal." "This isn't spotting. Please, come with me. The ambulance. I have an early meeting. I need to sleep." He started to close the door. She grabbed the frame. Her bloody hand left prints on the white paint. "Gregory, please, I'm scared." For just a second, something flickered across his face. Maybe guilt, maybe conscience, but it died as quickly as it came. "Call me if it's actually serious." He closed the door. She heard the lock click. Becca sat in the hallway, blood pooling beneath her. The man she'd married had just locked his door while she miscarried. Sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. She crawled to the stairs, made it down 3 steps before her strength gave out. She sat, held her belly, whispered apologies to the baby who might already be gone. The doorbell rang, then pounding. "Fire department. Anyone home?" She tried to answer. Her voice wouldn't work. Too weak. The door opened, not locked, never locked. What did they have to fear? They lived in the rich neighborhood, the safe one, Viwas. Footsteps, running. "Up here, female patient, pregnant, active bleeding." 2 paramedics appeared, young, competent, kind. "Hey there, I'm Marcus. This is Lisa. We're going to take care of you, okay?" Becca nodded, couldn't speak. "How far along are you?" 6 months, 24 weeks. "When did the bleeding start?" "I don't know. I woke up. There was blood. So much blood." Lisa was taking vitals. Blood pressure cuff, pulse ox, stethoscope. Her face stayed professional. But Becca saw her exchange a look with Marcus. Not good. The look said not good. "Ma'am, we're going to transport you to St. Mary's. It's 3 minutes away. Best OB emergency in the city. Is there someone we can call, family? Your husband?" "He's here, upstairs. He's..." "What? Asleep? Awake and uncaring? Hoping she'd lose the baby?" "Marcus, go get him," Lisa said. Marcus stood, went upstairs. Becca heard pounding. "Sir, your wife needs you. Open the door." Silence, more pounding. "Sir, this is the fire department. Open the door." The lock clicked. Gregory's voice, annoyed. "What?" "Your wife is being transported to the hospital. She needs you to come with us." "I told her I have an early meeting. She's fine. She's always being dramatic about something." Becca heard Marcus's voice change. No longer professional, hard. "Sir, your wife is hemorrhaging. She might be losing your baby. You need to come with us, now." "Fine, let me get dressed." Marcus came back down. His face was tight, angry. "Your husband's coming." "No, he's not," Becca whispered. "He doesn't want this baby. He doesn't want me." Marcus knelt beside her, lowered his voice. "That true?" She nodded. "Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're getting you to the hospital. The doctors there are the best. They're going to do everything they can for your baby. And if your husband doesn't show up, I'm calling the police. What he just did, leaving you like that, that's neglect at minimum, possibly worse, you understand?" Becca understood. The ambulance ride was a blur. Pain, lights, Lisa holding her hand, talking to her, keeping her conscious. "Stay with me, Rebecca. We're almost there. Tell me about your baby. Do you know if it's a boy or girl?" "Girl, I think. I wanted to wait. Find out at birth. But I know it's a girl." "What are you going to name her?" Grace because I need grace because we both need grace. That's beautiful. Grace is going to be okay. You are both going to be okay. But Lisa's face said she wasn't sure. The monitor's beeping said she wasn't sure. The way Marcus drove said she wasn't sure. They pulled up to St. Mary's. Emergency entrance. Doctors waiting. A team. 24 weeks. Heavy vaginal bleeding. Hypotensive, tachycardic. Possible placental abruption. They transferred her to a gurney, wheeled her inside. Fluorescent lights, white coats, urgent voices. Someone put a Doppler on her belly, searching, searching. The silence stretched. Then, a sound, fast, strong, thump, 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 thump. I've got fetal heart tones, 142, good variability. The baby, Grace, she was alive. Becca started crying, relief so intense it hurt worse than the contractions. Okay, Rebecca, we're going to run some tests, ultrasound, labs, figure out what's going on. You're at St. Mary's, you're safe. Your baby's heartbeat is strong. That's a good sign. We're going to do everything we can. A face appeared above her, familiar. Dr. Sarah Mitchell. Rebecca, I'm here. I got a call from the EMTs. I came straight over. Dr. Mitchell, my baby. Please save my baby. We're going to do everything we can. But first, tell me, when did you last eat? Real food, not snacks, an actual meal. Becca couldn't answer, didn't want to answer. The shame was too deep. Dr. Mitchell already knew. Your body doesn't have enough resources to support this pregnancy. Your baby's been in distress for weeks, maybe months. This is a warning. Your body is saying it can't do this anymore. I'll do better. I'll eat. This isn't your fault. Do you understand me? This is not your fault. But it felt like her fault. She'd let it get this bad. She'd stayed. She'd protected Gregory. She'd been too weak to leave. Where's your husband? Home. He has an early meeting. Briar Mitchell's jaw clenched. Okay, we'll deal with that later. Right now, we're focused on you and Grace. They wheeled her to ultrasound. The technician was quiet, professional. The wand pressed against her belly, cold gel. The screen showed shadows and shapes. A tiny form. Grace. There's your baby, the technician said. See, she's moving. That's good. Heart rate is strong. Fluid levels are low but not critical. The bleed appears to be resolving. You're going to be admitted for observation. Probably a few days. We need to get nutrition into you. Fluids. Build up your resources. She's okay? She's a fighter. But Rebecca, Dr. Mitchell is right. Your body is at its limit. If this happens again, we might not be able to stop it. You understand? Becca understood. Choose. The baby or Gregory. Her life or his control. It wasn't really a choice at all. They admitted her. 4th floor, maternity ward, a private room, IV fluids, fetal monitor. The constant reassuring sound of Grace's heartbeat. Dr. Mitchell came back. I called someone. I hope that's okay. Who? Your friend. Or Marley Stevens. She's listed as your emergency contact from 2 years ago, before you updated it to just Gregory. Becca's heart clenched. Marley, I haven't talked to her I know, she's on her way. And Rebecca, I also called Patricia Hendricks. She's coming too. And one more person, the neighbor who called 911. I didn't call, I called from inside. Someone else called. A man. Said he'd been watching your house for months. Said he'd seen enough, that he was a witness to whatever was happening. His name is Frank Donnelly. He's outside, wants to know if you're okay. Frank Donnelly, the neighbor, the one who walked his dog past their house twice a day, the one who'd waved sometimes, the one Becca had been too ashamed to wave back to. He'd been watching. He'd been documenting. He'd called for help when Gregory wouldn't. He can come in, Becca said. Everyone can come in. I'm done hiding. Dr. Mitchell smiled. Good, because they're all in the waiting room. And they're all ready to fight for you. Becca closed her eyes. Grace's heartbeat filled the room. Steady, strong, alive. For the first time in months, Becca wasn't alone. Frank Donnelly was 67 years old with the bearing of a man who'd seen everything and was no longer impressed by much. He knocked once on the hospital room door and entered without waiting for permission. You're alive, he said. Not a question. An observation. Becca nodded from the hospital bed. The fetal monitor beeped steadily. Grace's heartbeat. Frank's eyes went to the sound. Softened slightly. Baby okay? For now. He pulled a chair close to the bed. Sat down heavily. Pulled out his phone. I need to show you something, but first, I need to know if you're ready to see it. Ready to see what? The truth, from an outside perspective. I've been your neighbor for 3 years. Watched you move in, watched you change, watched you disappear. I'm a retired police detective. 30 years with LAPD, I know abuse when I see it, and I've been documenting yours for 6 months. Becca's breath caught. Documenting? Photos, timestamps, notes, everything I could see from my window. I walk my dog past your house twice a day, morning and night. I've watched you, Rebecca, and I've watched him. He turned his phone toward her. The screen showed a photo. Becca, standing at the kitchen window, thin, gaunt, visible ribs through her dress. The timestamp read 6 weeks ago. Frank swiped. Another photo, Becca sitting on the front steps, head in her hands, looking like she'd aged 10 years. Timestamp 8 weeks ago. Another swipe. Gregory's Bentley pulling into the driveway at 3 in the morning. A woman in the passenger seat. Red dress, Vivian. Timestamp 3 months ago. I have 216 photos, Frank said, spanning 6 months, documenting the deterioration of a pregnant woman while her wealthy husband came and went at all hours. Sometimes with her, usually without her ear. Why didn't you say something? I tried, twice came to your door, asked if everything was okay. You said yes, smiled, said you were just tired from the pregnancy. I'm a cop. Was a cop. I know that look. I know that lie. But I can't force help on someone who's not ready. So I documented, waited, hoped you'd reach out or that I'd catch something criminal enough to intervene. And last night I couldn't sleep. My bedroom overlooks your driveway. I saw your husband come home at 2:30 a.m., saw him go inside. Half hour later, I heard sirens, saw the ambulance, saw him finally come outside, saw him get in his car and drive away. Left you alone in that ambulance. That's when I called 911 again, told them there was a domestic situation, told them to document everything, get social services involved. Becca's throat tightened. He left? About 3 minutes after the ambulance did. Drove off. I followed his car. Went to a hotel. The Four Seasons. Downtown. Met a woman in the lobby. Red dress. Same woman from the photos. Vivian. I took pictures of that too. Thought maybe you'd need them someday. For court. For divorce. For whatever comes next. Why are you doing this? You don't even know me. Frank leaned back in the chair. His face was weathered. Tired. Sad in a way that spoke of old losses. I had a daughter, Emily. She married young. Nice guy. Seemed nice anyway. Wealthy, successful, charming. He isolated her. Controlled her. Made her small. I didn't see it until it was too late. She died at 31. Car accident, officially. But I've always wondered. She was driving home from his office after a fight. She wasn't wearing her seatbelt. Emily always wore her seatbelt. Always. His voice cracked. He cleared his throat. I didn't save my daughter, but I'll be damned if I stand by and watch another woman disappear into a rich man's control. So yes, I documented, and now I'm here. And I'm a witness. To all of it. Becca started crying. I'm sorry about Emily. Don't be sorry. Be alive. Be angry. Be whatever you need to be. But don't be sorry. None of this is your fault. The door burst open. A woman rushed in, dark hair, athletic build, familiar face that Becca hadn't seen in too long. Becca! Marley Stevens looked exactly the same, except for the fury in her eyes. Marley, Becca's voice broke. Marley was at the bedside in 3 steps, grabbed Becca's hand, looked at the monitors, the IV, the fetal monitor. Her face went from fury to devastation. Oh my God, what did he do to you? I'm okay. The baby's okay. You're not okay. Look at you. Becca, your bones. When did you last eat? Actually eat? Frank spoke from his chair. You must be Marley. Der Mitchell mentioned you. I'm Frank, the neighbor. Marley barely glanced at him. Her focus was entirely on Becca. I tried calling. For months. Your number was disconnected. I went to the house. He answered. Said you were sleeping. Said you didn't want to see me. Said the pregnancy was hard and you needed space. I believed him. I'm so sorry. I should have pushed harder. It's not your fault. He blocked you. On my phone, I didn't know until... Becca stopped. Until when? She couldn't remember when she'd realized Marley wasn't calling. Couldn't remember when she'd stopped existing outside the mansion walls. What can I do? Tell me what you need. I'll do anything. I need you to not leave. I need someone who isn't him. Someone who remembers who I used to be. I'm not going anywhere. Dr. Mitchell called me at 4 a.m. I broke about 6 traffic laws getting here. I'm staying. I'm taking personal leave from work. I don't care. You're more important. The door opened again. A woman in a navy suit, confident, stride, sharp eyes. Patricia Hendricks. Rebecca, how are you feeling? Like my life fell apart. Good. That's the first step. Acknowledging the situation. I've been reviewing the evidence you sent last night. The photos of his laptop, the Instagram posts, the email drafts, the credit card statements. It's more than enough. It's damning. We can use all of this. Patricia noticed Frank, extended her hand. Patricia Hendricks, family law. Frank shook it. Frank Donnelly, witness. I have additional evidence. Photos, timestamps, documentation of the husband's patterns, the other woman. Everything from an outside observer. Patricia's eyes lit up. Perfect. I'll need copies of everything. Already done. Printed and organized. 3 copies, one for you, one for the police, one for Rebecca. The police? Becca asked. What he did is criminal, Patricia said. Financial abuse, reproductive coercion, possibly attempted fetal homicide, depending on how the DA wants to charge it. We're not just talking divorce, Rebecca. We're talking criminal charges, prison time potentially. The word felt surreal, prison. Gregory in prison. It should have felt satisfying. Instead, it just felt sad, like mourning what was supposed to be and never was. I want full custody, Becca said, her voice stronger now. I want every penny he owes me. I want the house, and I want him to never touch another woman the way he touched me. We can do all of that, but first you need to get healthy, you and the baby. Can you stay here? Let them feed you? Build up your strength? Yes. Good. Frank, I need those photos. Marley, I need you to stay with Rebecca. Don't let her husband near her. If he shows up, call security immediately. I'm filing emergency orders today. Restraining order. Freeze on all accounts. Emergency custody if the baby comes early. He won't see this coming. Good on it, Marley said, her voice fierce. Let him suffer like he made her suffer. Patricia stood. All business, all competence. Rebecca, this is going to get ugly. He's going to fight. He's going to lie. He's going to paint you as crazy, unstable, a bad mother. Are you ready for that? Becca thought about the dog food, the empty refrigerator, the day her card declined at Whole Foods, the email drafts documenting her destruction. Gregory's face last night when he closed his door while she bled. Yes, she said, I'm ready. Then let's destroy him. Becca stayed in the hospital for 3 days. They fed her every 3 hours. Protein shakes, eggs, chicken, rice, vegetables, small portions at first. Her stomach couldn't handle more. But gradually food stopped feeling like punishment and started feeling like fuel. She gained 4 pounds. Grace's movements became stronger, more frequent. The monitors showed improvement. Fluid levels increasing. Heart rate variability good. Growth measurements catching up. Gregory didn't visit once. He texted twice. First text, heard you're in the hospital, hope you're okay. Second text, my lawyer says I need to be there for appearances. What room? She didn't respond. Patricia filed the paperwork. Emergency restraining order. Granted. Gregory was served at his office. Marley had sources who confirmed he'd thrown the papers across the room. Shouted at his assistant, called Becca every name Marley refused to repeat. On the third day, Dr. Mitchell cleared her for discharge. "You're not out of the woods yet," Dr. Mitchell said, "but you're stable. The baby's stable. I want you on bed rest for 2 weeks. Then modified activity, no stress, lots of protein, lots of rest. I'll see you weekly for monitoring." Where do I go? The mansion was legally still Gregory's house. The prenup had been clear. His property, his assets. She'd signed it without reading. He'd rushed her, said it was just a formality. "My place," Marley said immediately. "I have a 2-bedroom. It's not a mansion, but it's safe, it's food, it's yours." Patricia added, "I'm also working on getting the house. The prenup might not hold up. It was signed under duress. You were pregnant. He rushed you, didn't give you time to review, didn't advise you to get separate counsel. A judge might throw it out. How long will that take? Months, maybe a year. But in the meantime, you stay with Marley. You focus on the baby, you get strong, and when we go to court, you show that judge exactly who you are. A survivor, a mother, someone who fought back." They discharged her at noon. Marley drove. Frank followed in his car, said he wanted to make sure they got home safe, said he'd check on them daily, said Emily would have liked Becca. That made Becca cry. Marley's apartment was in Silver Lake. 3rd floor, no elevator, 42 stairs. Marley counted them while helping Becca climb. "Sorry," Marley said. "I know it's not—" "It's perfect," Becca interrupted. And it was. Small, cozy, full of books and art and signs of an actual life. Not a showroom, not a prison, a home. Marley had prepared the guest room, clean sheets, flowers on the nightstand, a basket of prenatal vitamins and healthy snacks. "I didn't know what you needed, so I bought everything." Becca sat on the bed, soft, comfortable, safe. She started crying. "Hey, no, don't cry. What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong. For the first time in months, nothing's wrong." Marley sat next to her, put an arm around her shoulders. "We're going to get through this, together, like we should have been all along. I'm sorry I didn't push harder. I'm sorry I let him cut you off. It's not your fault. He's good at this, making you doubt yourself, making his control seem reasonable. Well, he's done controlling you. Now we control the narrative. Speaking of which," Marley pulled out her laptop. "I'm writing the story. It goes national tomorrow. I have editorial approval, your story, your voice, the dog food, the Instagram posts, the email drafts, all of it. He's going to be infamous. Will that help in court? It'll help everywhere. Public opinion matters, especially when your husband is a public figure. Tech millionaire, venture capitalist. He's been on magazine covers, given TED Talks. The world thinks he's brilliant, generous, progressive. Time to show them who he really is." Becca's phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her. "Hello? Rebecca Morrison?" A woman's voice. Professional? Clipped. "Yes. This is Claire Ashworth. I'm Gregory's business partner. We need to talk. I don't think I know what he did to you, all of it. And I've been documenting everything on my end. Financial records, company funds he misappropriated, money he spent on Vivian Cross that he claimed were business expenses. I have proof, and I want to help you." Becca put the phone on speaker. Marley leaned in. "Why would you help me?" "Because I have a daughter. She's 8. And if I don't do something now, she'll grow up thinking this is normal. That powerful men can do whatever they want. That women are disposable. I won't let that happen. Gregory needs to face consequences, real ones." "What kind of proof do you buy?" "Everything. 3 years of financial statements, emails, texts, meeting notes where he bragged about you, called you his project, said he was training you to be the perfect wife. It made me sick, but I documented it all for a moment like this." Patricia grabbed the phone. "Claire Ashworth? This is Patricia Hendricks. I'm representing Rebecca. I need copies of everything you have, today if possible. I'll courier it to your office within the hour, and Ms. Hendricks, make him pay for every woman he'll hurt after this if we don't stop him now." The call ended. Marley looked at Becca. "You're building an army. I don't want an army. I just want my baby and my life back. Sometimes you need an army to get those things. The next 2 weeks passed in a blur of healing. Becca ate, slept, gained weight. Grace grew stronger. The kicks became powerful, constant, reassuring. Marley worked from home, wrote articles, cooked meals, sat with Becca during nightmares. There were nightmares. Gregory's face, the locked door, the blood, the fear of losing Grace. Frank visited daily, brought groceries, fixed things in Marley's apartment that didn't need fixing, became a grandfather figure, told stories about Emily, about the daughter he'd lost and the daughter he'd found in Becca. Patricia worked tirelessly, building the case, filing motions, deposing witnesses. She'd interviewed Vivian Cross. Vivian had crumbled immediately, confirmed everything, the money, the trips, the promises Gregory made about leaving Becca, about starting fresh. She's willing to testify, Patricia told them during a phone call. She didn't know you were being starved. He told her you were dramatic, claimed you were fine. She believed him. But when I showed her the photos, Frank's documentation, the medical records, she broke down, said she felt sick, that she never wanted to be part of hurting another woman. Do I have to see her? Becca asked. Not if you don't want to, but her testimony is powerful, shows Gregory's pattern, his manipulation, his lies to both of you. 2 weeks after the hospital, Becca got a text from Gregory. We need to talk, in person. I'll come to Marley's. She showed Patricia. Don't respond. He's panicking. Claire's testimony destroyed him and his company. They've started an investigation, possible embezzlement charges. Your story hits national news tomorrow. He knows his life is imploding. He's going to try to intimidate you or manipulate you. Don't let him. But Becca texted back, against advice, against reason. Fine, 2 p.m. tomorrow, Marley's apartment. Patricia and Marley will be present. You don't get me alone. His response, fine. That night, Becca couldn't sleep. Tomorrow she'd face him, the man she'd loved, the man who'd destroyed her, the man who'd locked his door while she bled. Marley sat with her. You don't have to do this. You can cancel. No, I need to see him. I need to look him in the eye and tell him he failed. He tried to break me, and I'm still here. You're so much stronger than you give yourself credit for. I ate dog food, Marley, for months. I was so weak. No, you survived. Surviving takes strength. Breaking would have been easier. You didn't break. That's not weakness. That's power. The next day at 1:55 p.m., Becca sat on Marley's couch. Patricia on one side, Marley on the other, Frank in a chair by the door, just in case. At 2 p.m. exactly, the doorbell rang. Marley answered. Gregory stood in the hallway. He looked different, thinner, stressed, dark circles under his eyes, disheveled. Good. Gregory, Marley said, her voice ice. Come in. He entered, saw the group. His face tightened. I said we needed to talk, not have an intervention. Sit down, Patricia said. We're all witnesses. Everything you say can and will be used in court. I've advised Rebecca not to speak at all, but she insisted on seeing you, so here we are. Gregory sat, looked at Becca, really looked at her for the first time in months. She'd gained 12 pounds. Her face had color again. Her eyes were clear. She looked alive. His face showed something. Surprise? Regret? She couldn't tell. Didn't care. Rebecca, I didn't realize things had gotten so bad. You documented every day, she said quietly. Day 47, day 83, day 119. You knew exactly how bad things were. You planned it. He flinched. You read my emails. Your drafts, your diary of my torture. Yes, I read them. And so will a judge and a jury if you're stupid enough to let this go to trial. I was just venting, working through things. You called watching me starve beautiful. You planned to make me lose our baby. You wanted me to have a psychological break so you could take Grace and start fresh with Vivian. That's not, you're twisting things. Am I? Patricia, show him. Patricia pulled out a folder, printed copies of every email draft, every Instagram post, every credit card statement. Photos of Becca at her thinnest, medical records showing malnutrition. She spread them on the coffee table, a visual timeline of destruction. Gregory's face went pale. This is what goes public tomorrow, Patricia said. Marley's article. It's already been approved by legal, already been fact-checked, already been scheduled for publication. By this time tomorrow, everyone will know exactly what you did. You can't. My reputation. Your reputation. Becca's voice rose. Your reputation? I almost lost our baby. I ate dog food. I weighed 109 pounds at 6 months pregnant. And you're worried about your reputation? I'll give you whatever you want. The house, money, custody, whatever. Just don't publish that article. It's publishing, Marley said. In 8 hours, nothing you say or do will stop it. Gregory turned to Becca, his face crumpled. Tears, real or fake, she couldn't tell. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. I lost myself. She made me feel. Don't blame Vivian, Becca interrupted. You did this. Your choices, your cruelty, your systematic abuse. Own it. I'll go to therapy. I'll do anything. Please, we can fix this. There's no we anymore. There's you, and there's me and Grace, and we're done being your project. She stood. Her legs were steady. Her voice was strong. Get out. Sign whatever Patricia sends you. Don't fight custody. Don't fight the settlement, and take your consequences like a man. And maybe someday our daughter won't hate you. But that's the best you can hope for now. Rebecca, get out. Frank stood, walked to the door, opened it, his detective stance, his imposing presence. Gregory looked at the group, realized he was alone, outmaneuvered, defeated. He stood, walked to the door, paused. For what it's worth, I did love you once. No, Becca said. You loved the idea of me, the perfect wife, the woman you could mold. You never loved me because you never saw me. But I see you now, and you're small, weak, pathetic, nothing like the man I thought I married. Gregory left, the door closed. The room was silent. Then Becca's legs gave out. Marley caught her, held her while she cried. Not sad tears, angry tears, relieved tears, free tears. You did it, Marley whispered. You faced him, and you won. I'm not crying because I'm sad. I know you're crying because you're alive, because you survived, because he failed to destroy you. That's worth crying about. The article published at 6 a.m. the next morning. By 9 a.m., it was trending nationally. By noon, international media had picked it up. Tech millionaire starved pregnant wife while spending $400K on Mistress. Pregnant woman survived on dog food while husband fed Mistress $10K dinners. Silicon Valley executive faces criminal charges for reproductive coercion. The photos were devastating. Becca at her thinnest. The Instagram posts showing Vivian's luxury. The email drafts with Gregory's own words. The medical records. Frank's timestamps. The public reaction was immediate and vicious. Gregory's company fired him. His board of directors issued a statement. We are horrified in these allegations and have terminated Mr. Morrison's position effective immediately. A full financial audit is underway. His social media was flooded. Death threats, anger, disgust, women sharing their own stories of financial abuse, men saying they'd never seen something so calculated. Vivian posted her own statement. I was lied to by Gregory Morrison. I believed him when he said his wife was fine. I had no idea what was really happening. I am cooperating fully with authorities. I am deeply sorry to Rebecca Morrison. No woman should suffer what she did. I take full responsibility for my part in not asking harder questions. The DA filed criminal charges, financial abuse, reproductive coercion, reckless endangerment, facing up to 10 years combined if convicted. Gregory's lawyer reached out to Patricia. My client wants to settle. Everything, custody, CSETs. He'll sign whatever you want. Just make the criminal charges go away. Too late, Patricia said. The DA's case doesn't depend on Rebecca's cooperation anymore. It's a matter of public interest now. Women's safety, he's going to trial, and he's going to lose. 8 weeks after that confrontation in Marley's apartment, Becca sat in family court. Judge Carolyn Webb presiding. The courthouse was packed. Media couldn't come inside, but they lined the halls. This case had become a symbol, a referendum on how society treats women. Becca wore a maternity dress, navy blue, professional. She was 32 weeks pregnant now, gained 25 pounds from her lowest weight, healthy, glowing even. Grace was thriving. Gregory sat at the defense table. 3 lawyers, all expensive, all useless against the evidence. Judge Webb was 58, 25 years on the bench, known for being fair but firm. She looked at the case file, the stack of evidence. Her face was unreadable. "This is a custody hearing," she began, "but given the related criminal charges, I've allowed a broader scope of evidence than typical. Both sides will have opportunity to present. Mr. Morrison, your attorney, may proceed." Gregory's lead lawyer stood. Marcus Sullivan, Harvard Law, $2,000 an hour. He was good at his job. "Your Honor, my client acknowledges that his marriage had problems. He acknowledges that he could have been more attentive, more present. But the allegations of systematic abuse, of intentional starvation, these are exaggerations born from a bitter divorce. Mrs. Morrison had access to funds, had freedom, had support. She chose not to use them." Patricia stood. "Objection. Mischaracterization of evidence." Sustained. "Mr. Sullivan, stick to facts not yet in evidence." Sullivan continued. "My client is a successful businessman. He provided a $15 million home, a lifestyle most people can't imagine. Yes, he had an affair. Yes, he made mistakes, but he didn't abuse his wife. He didn't endanger his child, and he has every right to custody of his daughter." He sat down, confident, like the evidence didn't exist. Patricia stood. She wore a black suit, red lipstick, power dress. "Your Honor, I'd like to call Rebecca Morrison to the stand." Becca stood, walked to the witness box, hand on her belly. Grace kicked, like she knew this was important. The bailiff swore her in. Patricia approached, kind but professional. "Mrs. Morrison, tell the court about your pregnancy, how you felt, what you experienced." Becca took a breath. This was it, the moment to speak her truth to every judge, every lawyer, every person who'd ever been broken by someone they trusted. "I found out I was pregnant 14 months ago. I was excited, scared, but excited. My husband, Gregory, his reaction was different. He didn't seem happy. He seemed calculating, like I'd just become a problem he needed to solve." "When did things change?" "About 2 months into the pregnancy. He started working later, coming home at 2 or 3 a.m. He'd moved to the guest room, said I was snoring, keeping him awake." "And financially?" "He'd always controlled the money, but it got worse. He'd forget to leave grocery money, or he'd say we needed to cut back, that I was being irresponsible. I had an old account from before we married, $200. I tried to make it last." "What did you eat during your pregnancy?" This was the question, the one that mattered. Becca's voice was steady. "Dog food, chicken flavored, the discount brand from the grocery store I could walk to. I ate it at least 3 times a week, sometimes more." The courtroom went silent. Gregory's lawyers exchanged looks. Sullivan started to object, then stopped. What could he say? The medical records proved it. "Why dog food?" "Because there was nothing else. The refrigerator was empty. I had no money, no car access, no way to get food, and I was desperate. My baby was kicking, weak kicks. I knew she needed nutrition. I ate whatever I could find." Judge Webb leaned forward. "Mrs. Morrison, did you ask your husband for help?" "Yes, Your Honor, many times. He'd say we needed to budget better, that I was being dramatic, that I should learn to manage money. Then he'd leave for work, and I'd be alone, hungry, terrified." Patricia presented exhibits, medical records. Becca's weight chart, 134 pounds at conception, 109 pounds at 6 months, 25 pounds lost. Photos. Becca at her thinnest, taken by Frank, dated, time-stamped. Bank statements. $0 accessible to Becca, millions accessible to Gregory. Credit card statements. The dinners, the jewelry, the trips, all for Vivian. Instagram posts, Vivian's luxury documented in real time. Posted while Becca starved. And the email drafts, Gregory's own words, documenting his plan, his timeline, his goal. Patricia read them aloud. Every word, every day, every proof of premeditation. Day 47, she's noticeably weaker. Day 83, reduced her account to $200. Beautiful watching her unravel. Day 119, need Becca to break completely. Clean slate. By the time Patricia finished, Judge Webb's face was stone. Cold fury barely contained. Mr. Sullivan, do you have evidence to refute these documents? Sullivan stood. For the first time, he looked uncertain. Your Honor, those emails were private thoughts. They don't represent actual intent. They represent a man documenting the systematic destruction of his wife. Continue if you have evidence. Otherwise, sit down. Sullivan sat. Patricia called more witnesses. Dr. Sarah Mitchell testified about the malnutrition, the baby measuring small, the real danger Becca and Grace had faced. Frank Donnelly testified about the 6 months of observation, the photos, the patterns, Gregory leaving at 2 a.m., coming home at dawn, the woman in red dresses, Marley Stevens, and testified about the blocked phone number, the isolation, the change in Becca from confident to nearly non-existent. Claire Ashworth testified about the company funds, the misappropriated expenses, Gregory's bragging about training his wife. Vivian Cross cried on the stand, testified about the lies Gregory told, the promises he made, how he'd said Becca was fine, just dramatic, how she'd believed him until she saw the truth. Each witness was another nail in Gregory's coffin. Finally, Sullivan called Gregory to the stand, a desperate move. Lawyers rarely put their clients on the stand in these cases. Too risky, Gregory wore a suit, navy blue, his power suit, styled hair, calm demeanor, playing the role. Sullivan asked softball questions about his work, his success, his intentions. Mr. Morrison, did you intend to harm your wife? No, never. I loved her. I still love her. Did you intend to endanger your child? Never. I want to be a father. I want custody. I want to be part of my daughter's life. Sullivan sat, confident again. Gregory had performed well. Patricia stood. She smiled, the smile of a shark who smelled blood. Mr. Morrison, let's talk about the email drafts. You wrote them, correct? Yes. And in them, you documented your wife's weight loss, day by day, correct? I was concerned. I was tracking. You called watching her suffer beautiful. Those were your words. Were you concerned or were you enjoying it? That's not, I was just venting. You wrote that you needed her to break completely. Why am I didn't mean. You wrote that if she had a psychological break, you could take the baby. Your words, explain that. Gregory's composure cracked. I was angry. We were fighting. I didn't mean. You spent $400,000 on Vivian Cross in 3 months, while your pregnant wife had $200. That's not fighting. That's financial abuse. I provided a house, a life. She had everything. She had nothing. She had no food, no money, no freedom. You trapped her, you starved her, you documented it, and you called it beautiful. Gregory's face reddened. She's lying. She's always lying. She's manipulative. She's sitting right there, 32 weeks pregnant, with your daughter, the daughter you tried to make her lose. Look at her. Gregory looked at Becca. Their eyes met. She didn't flinch, didn't look away. She'd eaten his dog food and survived. She'd bled and survived. She'd broken and rebuilt. He couldn't touch her anymore. I rest, Patricia said. Judge Webb looked at both parties. Her face was set. Decision made. I've seen a lot in my years on this bench. Divorces, custody disputes, abuse cases. This is beyond anything I could have imagined. Mr. Morrison, what you did isn't just morally reprehensible. It's criminal. You systematically destroyed your wife during the most vulnerable time of her life. You endangered your own child. You documented it like a science experiment. And now you want custody? Visitation rights? A say in this child's life? She paused, let the weight of her words settle. Full custody to Rebecca Morrison. No visitation for Gregory Morrison unless and until he completes court-ordered therapy, anger management, and parenting classes. Even then, visitation will be supervised only. Your Honor, Sullivan started, I'm not finished. Assets. The prenuptial agreement is void, signed under duress without separate counsel. Mrs. Morrison receives the house, the cars, and a settlement of $8.5 million from Mr. Morrison's personal assets. He will also pay all legal fees, all medical expenses, and child support of $25,000 per month until the child turns 18. Gregory stood. Your Honor, that's... Sit down, Mr. Morrison, or I'll hold you in contempt. You're lucky I can't sentence you to prison. The criminal courts will handle that separately. But in my court, you lose, completely. Mrs. Morrison, you're free. You and your daughter are safe. This court awards you everything, because you deserve everything. You survived. And survival deserves to be rewarded. The gavel came down. Final. The courtroom erupted. Media rushed out to report. Gregory's lawyers packed up, defeated. Patricia hugged Becca. You did it. It's over. Marley cried, happy tears. You're free. Really free. Frank put a hand on Becca's shoulder. Emily would be proud. Becca sat in the witness chair, hand on her belly. Grace kicked. Strong, insistent, alive. She'd won. Not just custody, not just money. She'd won her life back. 3 months later, Becca gave birth. Labor lasted 12 hours. Painful, difficult, beautiful. Grace Eleanor Morrison was born at 7 pounds, 9 ounces. Healthy, perfect, 10 fingers, 10 toes, a full head of dark hair, eyes that already looked wise beyond their newborn days. Dr. Sarah Mitchell delivered her. Marley held Becca's hand. Frank waited in the waiting room with flowers. Patricia texted congratulations. Gregory wasn't invited, wasn't notified, wasn't part of the moment. 2 days later, Becca sat in her hospital room, Grace asleep in her arms. The baby made tiny sounds, snuffles, sighs, the sound of new life. Marley walked in with coffee. Real coffee. First caffeine in months. How are you feeling? Sore, exhausted. Perfect. She's beautiful, Becca. Looks like you. Thank God, I was worried she'd look like him. Even if she did, she'd still be yours, still be perfect. Becca looked down at Grace. This tiny human, this miracle. She'd survived to bring her into the world. They'd both survived. Marley, thank you for everything, for not giving up on me, for coming when Dr. Mitchell called, for letting me live with you, for being here. You're my family, always have been. I'm sorry I let him cut us off. He's good at it, making control seem reasonable, making isolation seem like love. Never again, you hear me? Never again will anyone make you small. The door opened, a nurse wheeled in a bassinet. Time for your first feeding class. Want to try nursing? Becca nodded. The nurse helped position Grace, showed her how to hold, how to help the baby latch. It hurt. No one talks about that. How breastfeeding hurts at first. But Grace fed, strong pulls, good latch. The nurse smiled. Natural, she knows what she needs. After the nurse left, Marley sat in the chair by the window. I got a call this morning from a publisher. About the article? About your story. They want to publish a book, your experiences, your recovery, your fight. They're calling it Starving for Love, How I Survived My Millionaire Husband's Abuse. Becca looked up. A book? A book, your words, your truth. They're offering a significant advance, and they want to donate half the proceeds to women's shelters, domestic violence organizations, making something good come from something terrible. I don't know if I can, reliving it all, writing it down. Think about it, no pressure. But Becca, your story matters. How many women are living what you lived, thinking they're crazy, thinking it's their fault? Your voice could save them. Grace finished nursing. Becca burped her. Tiny burps. Made them both laugh. I'll think about it. They discharged her 2 days later. Marley drove, carefully, like she was transporting precious cargo. She was. They didn't go to Marley's apartment. They went to the mansion. Becca's mansion now. The court had transferred the title. Gregory had been forced to move out. All his things packed. Gone. The house was empty except for furniture. Becca walked through with Grace in her arms, seeing it different now. Not a prison, just a house. Large, empty, ready to be filled with new memories. You don't have to stay here, Marley said. You could sell it, buy something smaller, somewhere without his ghost. No, I'm keeping it, but I'm making it mine. New paint, new furniture, new everything. He doesn't get to take this from me too. Over the next 3 months, Becca transformed the mansion. Hired a designer, a woman, someone who understood what it meant to reclaim space. They painted every wall. Light colors, bright, open. The marble stayed, too expensive to replace, but they covered it with rugs. Soft, warm, comfortable. The nursery became a haven. Soft yellows, whites, a rocking chair by the window, books lining the shelves, a mural of trees and stars. Grace's room, her kingdom. The kitchen got a total renovation. New appliances, a table, a real dining space. Becca filled the refrigerator, fresh vegetables, proteins, milk, eggs, bread. She'd stand sometimes and just look. Abundant, full, safe. She threw away the can opener. Didn't need the reminder anymore. Grace grew. 2 months old, 3 months, 4 months. She smiled, cooed, started rolling over, each milestone of victory, proof they'd both made it. Marley visited daily, Frank too. He'd become Grace's honorary grandfather, brought toys, read books, told stories about Emily, about the daughter he'd lost and the family he'd found. Patricia called weekly, updates on the criminal case. Gregory had taken a plea deal. 5 years probation, anger management, therapy, community service. Registered as a domestic offender. His career was over, his reputation destroyed. He'd never work in tech again. Vivian had moved to New York, started therapy, posted rarely. When she did, it was thoughtful, apologetic. She'd used her platform to talk about financial abuse, how she'd been unknowingly complicit, how women need to ask questions, verify stories, not trust blindly. Becca appreciated that. Vivian had been lied to too. Different lies, different manipulation, but hurt nonetheless. 6 months after Grace was born, Becca started writing the book. Not in the mansion. Too many ghosts still. She'd go to coffee shops, to Marley's apartment, to the park with Grace in a stroller. She wrote about the dog food, the shame, the hunger, the isolation. She wrote about Frank, Marley, Patricia, Dr. Mitchell, the people who'd saved her. She wrote about the email drafts, Gregory's words, his documentation of her destruction. She wrote about the trial, the victory, the freedom. And she wrote about Grace, about surviving to bring her into the world, about choosing life when death seemed easier, about becoming a mother despite everything. The writing was cathartic, painful, healing. The book published 8 months later. Starving for Love hit bestseller lists immediately. Women everywhere related, shared their stories, found their voices. Becca went on a book tour, morning shows, podcasts, interviews. She told her story over and over. Each time women would approach her afterward, crying, thanking her, saying me too in different ways. One woman whispered, "I'm eating crackers in my car right now because there's no food at home. Your book made me realize it's not my fault." Becca gave her Patricia's number, her own phone number, money for a hotel if she needed it immediately. The woman left. Becca hoped she'd call, hoped she'd find her own Frank, her own Marley, her own path out. A year after Grace was born, Becca did an interview on national television. The host asked the question everyone wanted to know. Do you regret marrying him? Would you go back and change it if you could? Becca held Grace in her lap, 1-year-old, babbling, perfect. I used to think I would, used to imagine what my life would be if I'd never met Gregory. But then I look at Grace and I realize she's worth it. The pain, the suffering, the dog food, all of it. Because it led to her. And she's everything. What would you say to women in similar situations? Becca looked directly at the camera, spoke to the woman eating crackers in her car, the woman hiding bruises, the woman believing she's crazy, the woman too afraid to leave. You're not alone. You're not crazy. It's not your fault. And you can survive this. I did. On dog food and stubbornness and the smallest spark of self-preservation. If I can survive, you can survive. Find your people. Your Frank, your Marley, your Patricia. They're out there waiting to help. You just have to reach out. The segment went viral. Becca's message replayed millions of times. Women reached out, thousands of them. Shelters reported increased calls, increased awareness. Change happened. Small, gradual, but real. 2 years after Grace was born, Becca received a letter, forwarded through her publisher. No return address. She opened it carefully. Inside, a single page, handwritten. Rebecca, I know I have no right to write to you, no right to any space in your life, but I need to say this. I'm sorry, not because my lawyer told me to, not because it's expected, but because I finally understand what I did. Therapy has shown me the monster I became, how I systematically destroyed the woman I'd promised to love, how I endangered my own child, how I documented it like you were an experiment. I'm sick. I was sick. I'm working on it. But working on it doesn't undo the harm, doesn't erase the dog food, doesn't give back the months of terror. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I wanted you to know that I see it now, really see it. You survived something I created. You're stronger than I could ever be. Grace is lucky to have you. I'll never contact you again. But I had to say this once. I'm sorry. Gregory. Becca read the letter 3 times, looked for manipulation, for hidden motives, for the trap, but it seemed genuine, broken, real. She showed it to Marley. What do I do with this? What do you want to do, Bo? Becca thought, for a long time. Then she went to the kitchen. The one she'd renovated, filled with food and life and safety. She opened the drawer, found matches, went to the fireplace, lit the letter, watched it burn. I don't need his apology, she said to Marley. I don't need his understanding. I needed it then. When I was starving, when I was bleeding, when I was breaking, but now I have everything I need. Grace, my voice, my life. His apology is for him, not me. He can keep it. The letter burned to ash. Becca swept the ashes away. Didn't think about it again. 3 years after the trial, Becca stood in her kitchen, the mansion that was finally completely hers. She was making breakfast, eggs, toast, fresh fruit, orange juice, coffee. Grace sat in her high chair, 3 years old, talking constantly, bright, curious, healthy. Mommy, I hungry. I know, baby. Breakfast is almost ready. Becca plated the eggs, scrambled, fluffy. She'd learned to cook, really cook. Not just survive, but create, nourish, enjoy. She set the plate in front of Grace, cut the eggs into small pieces, watched her daughter eat. Every bite was a victory. Every meal was proof they'd made it. The doorbell rang. Becca checked the monitor. Marley. Right on time. She opened the door. Marley carried coffee, 2 cups, a Saturday tradition. Morning, how's my favorite niece? Auntie Marley, Grace shrieked, scrambled down from her chair, ran to hug Marley's legs. Marley scooped her up. You get bigger every week. What are you eating? Magic beans? Eggs. Mommy made eggs. Sounds delicious. Better this than the gross cereal I had. They sat at the kitchen table. Grace returned to her breakfast. Marley handed Becca a coffee. Extra milk, 2 sugars. She knew. So, Marley said, big day tomorrow. Tomorrow, the foundation launch. Starving for Love Foundation, a nonprofit Becca had built over the last 2 years, supporting women leaving financial abuse, providing emergency funds, legal support, housing assistance, everything Becca had needed and more. They'd raised $3 million, partnered with shelters, hired social workers, created a hotline, built a network. Tomorrow was the official launch, press conference, donors, survivors, telling more stories, building more bridges. I'm nervous, Becca admitted. Why, you've done this before. Interviews, the book, the tour. This is different. This is permanent. This is my life's work now. What if I fail? What if I can't help enough women? What if... Stop. Marley put her coffee down. Serious now. You've already helped thousands. The book, your voice, your example. Women call the hotline daily because you showed them it's possible to leave, to serve him, to thrive. You're not going to fail. You're going to change the world. One woman at a time. Grace finished her eggs. Mommy, I done. Good job, baby. You want strawberries? Yes, strawberries. Becca washed the strawberries, cut them in half, watched Grace eat them, red juice on her chin, pure joy on her face. This was the victory, not the court case, not the money, not the book, this. Her daughter eating strawberries in a safe kitchen with a full refrigerator and a mother who survived. That night, after Grace was asleep, Becca walked through the mansion, room by room, remembering. The kitchen where she'd eaten dog food, now bright, full, alive. The hallway where she'd bled, now lined with photos. Grace's first smile, first steps, first birthday, life replacing death. The guest room where she'd slept, now her office, desk, laptop, work for the foundation, purpose replacing emptiness. The master bedroom, Gregory's room, now hers, redecorated, new bed, new everything, no ghosts. She stood at the window, looked out at Frank's house, a light on in his window. He was probably watching TV, maybe thinking about Emily, maybe thinking about Becca and Grace, the family he'd found after losing his own. Tomorrow she'd invite him to the launch. He'd decline. Too much attention, but he'd be proud. She knew that. Her phone buzzed, a text from Patricia. Ready for tomorrow? You're going to be amazing. Becca typed back, thank you for everything. You saved my life. No, you saved your own life. I just helped with the paperwork. Becca smiled, went to Grace's room, stood over the crib, watched her daughter sleep. Perfect, peaceful, safe. She thought about the woman she'd been 3 years ago, 109 pounds, eating dog food, trapped, breaking. That woman felt like a stranger now. Someone from a story, someone who'd suffered and surrounded and emerged different. Becca wasn't that woman anymore. She was transformed, not broken and rebuilt, but broken and remade into something stronger, something that couldn't be broken again. The next morning, the press conference was packed. Media, donors, survivors, advocates. The room buzzed with energy, hope, purpose. Becca stood at the podium, Grace with Marley in the front row, Patricia beside them, Frank in the back, Dr. Mitchell in the audience, Claire Ashworth, even Vivian, who'd become an advocate herself, an army. Marley had been right. Sometimes you need an army. 3 years ago, Becca began, I was a different person. I weighed 109 pounds at 6 months pregnant. I was eating dog food to survive. My husband was spending thousands of dollars daily on his mistress while I starved. I thought I was alone, crazy, weak. I was none of those things. I was abused. And I survived. The room was silent, listening. Today, I stand here healthy, happy, free, with my daughter Grace, with my friends who saved me, with a purpose bigger than my pain. The Starving for Love Foundation exists because no woman should survive what I survived. No woman should eat dog food while her partner eats caviar. No woman should be trapped in a mansion that's actually a prison. She paused, let the weight settle. We've raised $3 million. We've partnered with 50 shelters nationwide. We have a 24/7 hotline, legal support, emergency funds, housing assistance, everything I needed and more, because I survived to build this. So other women can survive too. Applause, standing ovation. Becca felt tears on her cheeks, happy tears, victory tears. After the press conference, women approached, one by one, telling their stories, thanking her, asking for help. One woman, young, maybe 25, whispered, I'm 8 months pregnant. My boyfriend controls all the money. I have $20. I don't know what to do. Becca gave her Patricia's number, the foundation's hotline, her own email. Call today, right now, we'll help you. You're not alone anymore. The woman left. Becca hoped she'd call, knew she might not. Sometimes the fear is too great, the control too deep. But she'd planted a seed. Sometimes that's enough. 6 months later, Becca got a letter from the young woman. I called. Patricia helped me. I left. My baby girl was born healthy. I named her Rebecca, after you. Because you showed me it was possible. Thank you. You saved 2 lives, mine and hers. Becca cried reading it, showed Grace, who was now 3.5. Mommy, why are you crying? Happy tears, baby. Sometimes we cry when we're happy. Why happy? Because I helped someone, the way people help me. I help too when I big? Yes, when you're big, you can help too. We all help each other. That's how we survive. 4 years after the trial, Becca received one more letter from a lawyer representing Gregory's estate. Gregory had died. Heart attack, 50 years old. He'd never recovered from the scandal, lost everything, died alone in a studio apartment. The lawyer asked if Becca wanted to tell Grace, if she wanted Grace to attend the funeral, if there was any message she wanted to send. Becca sat with the letter for a long time, felt something complicated. Not sadness exactly, not satisfaction either. Just finality, the end of a chapter that had ended long ago. She wrote back, brief, clear. Grace will know about her father when she's old enough to understand. We won't attend the funeral. I have no message to send. May he find peace he couldn't find in life. She told Grace a simplified version years later. When Grace was 12, old enough to understand, but young enough to process. Your father was sick, not in his body, in his mind, in his heart. He hurt me, but he also gave me you, and you're the best thing that ever happened to me. People are complicated, good and bad. Your father was mostly bad to me, but you get to decide who you are. You're not defined by him or by me. You're defined by your choices. Grace thought about it. Did he ever say he was sorry? Once in a letter, but sorry doesn't fix everything. Sorry is just words. Actions matter more. I'm glad I have you, Mom. You're the best. I'm glad I have you too, baby. 10 years after the trial, Becca stood in the same kitchen. Grace was 13, teenager, tall, smart, kind, everything Becca had hoped she'd be. The foundation had helped over 10,000 women, provided $20 million in support, changed laws, changed lives, changed everything. Becca was 54 years old, healthy, happy, successful. She dated a few times. One relationship lasted 2 years. It ended amicably. She was okay alone, preferred it sometimes. Grace was enough. The work was enough. She opened the drawer, the one where the can opener used to live. Now it held normal things, cooking utensils, measuring cups, nothing painful. But she remembered, would always remember, the dog food, the blood, the fear. Fear, the moment she decided to survive. That moment had saved her, had saved Grace, had saved thousands of women who came after. Grace walked into the kitchen. Mom, what's for dinner? What do you want? Can we make that pasta thing with the fresh tomatoes? Absolutely. They cooked together, laughing, talking, easy, the way family should be. After dinner, Grace did homework. Becca sat at her desk, answered emails, from women needing help, from donors wanting to contribute, from survivors saying thank you. One email stood out. Subject line, you saved my life. She opened it. Dear Becca, you don't know me, but 15 years ago I was starving. Literally. My ex-husband controlled everything. I ate whatever I could find. I thought about ending it. Then I read your book, saw your interview, realized I could survive. I left, got help, rebuilt. Today I'm remarried, happy, successful. I have 3 kids, and none of it would exist if you hadn't told your story. Thank you. Thank you for surviving. Thank you for speaking. Thank you for showing me it was possible. You saved my life, and now I'm paying it forward. Helping other women. The way you helped me. Survivors helping survivors. That's how we change the world. With love, Jennifer. Becca saved the email, added it to a folder. Hundreds of similar messages. Proof, evidence, that survival matters, that speaking matters, that living matters. She looked out the window. The California sunset, pink and orange and gold. Beautiful. She'd survived. Not just survived, thrived, transformed, become something new. The woman who ate dog food was gone, but not forgotten. She lived in every woman Becca helped, every story she told, every life she touched. That woman had been weak, broken, scared. This woman was strong, whole, fearless, not because the pain disappeared, but because she'd walked through fire and emerged someone no fire could ever burn again. Grace called from her room. "Mom, can you help me with math?" "Coming!" Becca closed her laptop, went to help her daughter, the daughter she'd survived to raise, the daughter who'd never know hunger, never know fear, never know what it meant to be small in someone else's world. Because Becca had made sure Grace's world was big, safe, full. That was the victory. Not the court case or the money or the book or the foundation. The victory was Grace, eating strawberries, doing homework, living a normal life. The victory was surviving and making sure no one else had to die in the process. That night, Becca stood in her kitchen one last time. The same spot where she'd opened that first can of dog food 4 years ago. The spot where she'd hit rock bottom, where she'd made a choice. Survive. The can opener was gone. The dog food was gone. The desperation was gone. But the lesson remained. When you hit bottom, you have two choices. Stay there or climb. Becca had climbed, crawled, fought, bled, survived, and in surviving, she'd given permission to thousands of women to do the same. She finally understood what the judge had said. Survival deserves to be rewarded. But more than that, survival deserves to be celebrated, shared, used as a weapon against the darkness. Becca had been starving. Now she was full, not with food, though her refrigerator was always stocked now. A promise to herself and Grace, full with purpose, with love, with grace, with the work, with the knowledge that she'd transformed pain into power, suffering into service, death into life. She turned off the kitchen light, went upstairs, checked on Grace one more time, sleeping peacefully, safe. "We made it, baby girl," she whispered. "We really made it." And they had. The can opener sits in a museum now, the Smithsonian, part of an exhibit on domestic violence, on survival, on women who refuse to disappear. Next to it, a placard reads, "This can opener was used by Rebecca Morrison to open dog food during her pregnancy. While her millionaire husband spent thousands daily on his mistress, Rebecca survived on whatever she could find." Her story sparked a national conversation about financial abuse. Her foundation has helped over 50,000 women. Her voice has changed laws, saved lives, and proven that survival is not just an act of endurance, but an act of defiance. This can opener represents rock bottom, but also the beginning of transformation, because sometimes the only way out is through. Visitors stop, read, some cry, some take photos, some donate to the foundation on the spot. And somewhere in California, Rebecca Morrison continues her work, helping women climb, survive, transform, because she knows what it's like at the bottom, and she knows the view from the top. And she spends every day building ladders for the women still climbing. One woman, one story, one life at a time. That's how you change the world. Rebecca's story didn't end in that courtroom. It's still happening today. Right now, there's a woman sitting in her car, afraid to go inside. There's a woman checking her bank account and seeing zero. There's a woman who thinks she's crazy when she's actually being destroyed. Your engagement on this video does something powerful. It pushes this story to more women who need to hear it. The algorithm doesn't just count likes. It counts lives that might be changed. So if Rebecca's story moved you, hit that like button. Not for me. For the woman who needs to stumble across this video at 2 a.m. when she's searching for answers. Drop a comment, share your thoughts, or just write, "I hear you, Rebecca." Let's build a community of survivors and supporters. Because healing happens when we stop suffering in silence. Share this video. You never know whose life you might save, whose daughter, whose sister, whose friend. And subscribe to this channel. We tell stories that matter. Stories of survival, stories of women who refuse to break, stories that remind us we're not alone. Rebecca survived on dog food and became a voice for thousands. What will your story be? Who will you help by simply pressing share? Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring. Thank you for being part of the solution. See you in the next story, where we'll meet another survivor who refused to disappear.